Hey guys, welcome back. This is HD and welcome to a special commentary here. I'm going to be bringing you guys a game between my co-caster, Pain User. Some of you guys may know him from, oh god, I sound like that guy from The Simpsons. Some of you guys may know Pain User as my co-caster on IGN. He is, of course, going to be the Yellow Terran here, formerly a professional StarCraft 2 player who retired to become a commentator alongside me. And he's going to be playing against one of my buddies here by the name of Kenzel. Or Kenzie, and it is going to be a Terran versus Zerg. But this commentary isn't special because of the players involved. I mean, yes, these guys are awesome and everything, especially my co-caster. This commentary is special because it's going to be featuring a new map, which I actually helped develop. Now, I don't want to take all the credit away from the person who it should be accredited to. Doa, some of you guys may know Doa, aka Eric Lonnquist, as a commentator from the GSL who has come over to work in the IPL. He was the one who designed this map, basing his original map design off of Desert Oasis. Some of you guys may remember Desert Oasis from all the way back in the beta, like a long time ago. And of course, not a lot of players really liked that map because the map was so large. It was very hard to control your natural. It made for a great viewing experience, in my opinion, but it just was very difficult to play from a player's perspective. So what Doa went ahead and did while he was out in Korea was kind of work on this map behind the scenes and really made an interesting map. He's done a lot of interesting things. Let me just show you guys a little bit of what I'm talking about. First of all, you do have the third as usual. You do have this open area in the middle, but it's a little bit more cut off. I don't know what the deal with that is. That's apparently a little bit of broken, a little glitch. I have to remind you guys that this map is, it is in its prototype right now. It's not fully fleshed out. It's not fully designed yet. It's still in its kind of beta phase. But since Doa worked on this map for so long, he had some pro gamers test it. They really enjoyed it. I wanted to go ahead and bring this to you guys. And one other reason why I wanted to bring it to you guys is because I had a word of say in it. I actually said, you know what? I want to see more maps that feature the Brood War style, like Medusa, having a ledge behind your natural. So there you guys can see right here, this is the natural on what we're going to call this map BW Oasis, I guess, Brood War Oasis. But this map has an interesting feature because there's a ramp here that leads to behind the natural, which is where Pain User is now scouting out. And he's going to go ahead and throw a bunker behind that nat. Now, the reason why this is very interesting is because on a map like Medusa, you had mineral onlys behind that ledge. And that's what we kind of see here. And I kind of said, you know what, Doa, you should put this in your map. I think it would be really cool. Now, how does the opponent access this besides how Pain User just accessed it? I'll show you guys. There's actually, this ledge is connected into the middle of the map by a double ramp leading up with rocks, leading the way into there. And if you guys were Brood War viewers or Brood War pro gamers, which I'm assuming most of you guys aren't, if you guys are Brood War viewers, and you guys know all about the temple on Medusa or Neo Medusa that had, like, I don't know, 15 temples stacked on top of each other. You had to break it down with splash damage, and then you could access the behind of the natural. So I said, you know what, let's introduce this feature and see how it plays out. We haven't seen any maps really that feature this kind of dynamic aspect of having ledges behind your natural, an access that your opponent can enter through and then attack from behind that nat, and then of course having these mineral onlys. I think this is a very Brood War style map. And so we went ahead and we designed it, and I called up Pain User and I called up Kenzie, and I said, you know what, guys, we need two really good players to protest this. And so this is essentially our protest game, and it turned out to be very interesting. So I hope you guys enjoy. That's my introduction. Credit to Doa for the original design on this map. And then I also had a little bit of say. Essentially, I said, you know what, Doa, put in these ledges. It'll be really cool. And that's pretty much it. Let's see what happens here. The map is called BW Oasis. If you guys want to find it on Battle.net, you should be able to find it. And what is Pain User doing right here? He's trying to access the ledge behind the nat. But of course, I told Doa to go ahead and put a ramp here, which is going to allow his own troops to get behind and defend. That's why it's not imbalanced. You can't just, like, you know, send a medevac back here and drop there without the Zerg being able to do anything. So Kenzel able to clean up the Reaper threat. And Pain User, I think at this point said, you know what, Starport would be really good on this map because on the original Desert Oasis, quick medevac drops were very powerful. You guys can see the air rush distance, not, you know, it's not too long. It's actually fairly close. So Pain User's whole idea here was, let's go ahead and go right into medevac play, try to get some dropships in and do some damage. And we'll see if it works or not. Meanwhile, Kenzel has about 8 Zerglings right now on the field. Of course, he had to produce a ton of Zerglings to deflect the Reaper and the Bunker Harass. He was able to do just that, and now he is at the front of the natural. You guys can see right here, he's kind of posturing the front, preventing Pain User from really moving up. But Pain User's going to come out anyways by lowering the depot, and he feels comfortable enough to go ahead and push out. By the way, guys, this also has Pain User's ledge as well. You guys can see the ledge behind Pain User's natural, easily accessible from the center of the map with these rocks once again. But I also wanted to point out to you guys that on this map, you can Forge Fast Expand, believe it or not. So Protoss players are still going to be happy because you can wall off from this ledge down to like this ledge, or if you're up here, you can wall from here to here. And it's not exactly balanced yet. I think this one's a little bit more narrow than the one down here. But my hope here is to bring this map out to you guys, and I hope you guys let me know what you guys think about the map. If you guys think it's cool or not, if you think Blizzard should implement more maps with interesting mechanics such as this ledge. You guys can imagine already the dynamics behind it. I mean, if an opponent can attack through that ledge, essentially they can kill 2 hatcheries. They can kill this one, and they can kill this one. Let me know what you guys think about the map, and post in the comments down below, and hopefully you guys get a chance to play test it as well. Now, it looks like Kenzel's going to go ahead and grab the third over here, and he has placed his macro hatch inside the main. I actually thought at this moment Kenzie would have been better off putting the macro hatch back here, because as a Zerg, if you're going to throw a macro hatch down, well, you might as well just go ahead and throw it back here anyway, so you get some minerals out of it. But I guess he didn't really realize that there was an opening there to go ahead and do that. And Pain User now has secured his own natural, as he's working his way up to a 4th barracks, so he's going to have a lot of bio production. Also, coming in here with the double medevacs that we were talking about before, and let's see how much damage Pain User is going to be able to get out of this. Now, back in the old days on Desert Oasis, you could drop next to these 2 geysers and really utilize it to prevent a surround on your Marines, and it looks like Pain User's going to do the same exact thing here, and really good positioning on those Marines, just shredding through all the Zerglings, and he's still keeping them alive. Kenzel's not focusing the medevacs down with his Queen, but it doesn't matter. I guess he was able to clean up those Marines eventually, but that was very cost-effective from the Terran perspective to drop 16 Marines off and kill an absolute swarm of Zerglings. It's just really, really incredible. That's quite fantastic for Pain User here, and you guys can see I was a spectator in this game. I'm just gonna go ahead and let the players know all about the back natural, or I guess you would call this the third. I don't know what it would be, the back natural or the secondary expansion point. And I was going to go ahead and let the Zerg player, of course, know that that's a great spot for a macro hatch, so you should go ahead and utilize that. And we'll see what happens here, guys. Like I said before, I'm really looking forward to seeing more people play test on this map. I think it's a lot more fairer than the original Desert Oasis, because you don't have to worry about getting your nat sniped so easily, because of course there's this huge ravine here now and you have to break through the rocks. But at the same time, while it gives you more resources like this back third here, it also is very, very vulnerable if an opponent can control the high ground, because they can take out 2 bases rather than 1. So it should make for a pretty interesting play. And we'll just see what happens here. Pain User going again with a quad medevac drop, although only 2 of them are really full. The third one has, it looks like, 1 Marine. And let's see what Pain User can do here. Now, he is going to go ahead and try to drop right into the natural. There are quite a few infestors just chilling outside of the main, but they are not ready to go. Excuse me, this drop is inside the main. And Pain User, once again, using the double gas here to really just strike fear into the hearts of these drones and killing off so many Zerglings. Pain User's just going to be able to clean out all these Zerglings. Now Kenzie's going to get back in here with his infestors, and he gets a huge fungal off. And you can bet that's going to be a chain fungal, and that will finish off the rest of these medevacs and Marines, or at least the Marines, as 3 medevacs will get out of there. But that was once again another cost-effective strike from Pain User's side. It would have been nice to see him pull all those Marines out, though. I think that Kenzie certainly got a little bit back in terms of doing damage, because if those Marines had been able to do the damage they did and they were able to retreat, man, Pain User would just be so far ahead right now. But at least Kenzie was able to chain fungal those Marines down, and I guess that's kind of the drawback to leaving all your Marines clumped up. An infestor can really ruin your day. And you know, right now Kenzie actually going with more of a Stefano style. You guys might recall Stefano, big proponent of +2/+2 Zerglings, or just mass upgrades and Zerglings and infestors. Seems to be Kenzie's playstyle here. He's not going to go into air at all. which I actually think is, on this map, I think is a bit of a mistake. I think air can abuse this high ledge just as easily as ground troops can. Of course, you know, if, like I said before, if you can control this high ground, you get access to not one, but two bases. And that's really the risk versus reward that you have to face on a map such as this BW Brood War Oasis. So we shall see what happens down here. It looks like Kenzie going to go ahead and break down the rocks once again to the bottom right-hand corner as he wants to secure yet another hatchery. And the base back here, guys, is essentially similar to, I would say, Shattered Temple. You basically have this kind of high ledge that you can access if you break the rocks down in the corners. So we do see Kenzie trying to access that right now, but both players are on full macro mode. They are at 3 bases apiece. In fact, Kenzie getting his 4th here, and this time is going to go ahead and expand to the back natural. And really both players here at only 15 minutes in are on full production. This is full ramped up mode, and this is very hard to do unless it's a map like Crevasse or Terminus, where you can grab bases very quickly. But like I said before, even though it's a map like Crevasse and Terminus, it's still, and you can get all those bases, it's still risky because any player can take out 2 bases for the price of 1. And it looks like right now Pain User is pushing out into the middle Zonaga Tower, and he wants to go ahead and control that with his 1-2 Marines. Kenzie, meanwhile, has gotten a Spire of his own up, so we may see him transition into Mutas. He doesn't really have the gas to do just that. And meanwhile, he's also flooding into the middle of the map with a ton of Zerglings. I believe you can access that. Yes, you can. That's just a slight glitch in the map that Doba's going to have to fix. And Kenzel's going to get a surround off on the tanks and Marines. Brilliant surround right here. Pain User not paying attention. He unloads most of his units back into his medevacs, or loads most of his units back into his medevacs, but he loses a squadron of Marines and a siege tank essentially for free. That was a great strike by Kenzie. He's right back in this game, but now Pain User's going to go ahead and drop on the ledge here. The Overlord should have seen the drop coming in, so now Kenzie's got to get all of his troops rallied back home up this ramp to defend this location. Pain User's already in position though. He's gonna siege up a tank. He gets fungled though. Pain User does not spread out his Marines. A mistake by Pain User, but I don't really think there's anything he could have done about that. It's very hard to spread your Marines out as soon as you drop them. And at the very least, he did some damage with that attack, and oh no, he gets fungled on the way out. Kenzie, very quick reaction right here, and he picks off 2 medevac full worth of units. That was another big play by the Zerg player, who now I think controls this game. Although Pain User is expanding once again, so both players now on 4 bases, and that's really the speed as to which you can get up a large number of bases on a map like this, but still have a lot of excitement because there's so many avenues worth attacking through. And I think this is really interesting here. Kenzie gonna go ahead and go in with his Zerglings once again, but doesn't have enough Zerglings to break through the Marines as the siege tanks were sieging up. You really don't want to just crash your Zerglings through into 4 tanks if there are Marines there, because those tanks and Marines combined would just eat the Zerglings alive. And of course, the Infestors just don't have the speed that the Zerglings do, especially if you don't spread creep. And on a map this vast, it can be very hard to, you know, keep up with your macro and keep up with your creep spread. You guys can see right here, Kenzie finally breaks down the rocks, which he was working down a long time ago, but he forgot to finish it off. And so very difficult to focus on your macro and focus on all these other things at once. A couple of Zerglings here trying to run underneath the floating island, but they end up running into a ton of tanks. And now Kenzie's coming in with more Zerglings. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to accomplish here. He's going to try to get a surround on the tanks, but unable to do so. That attack was futile. And Pain User with that solid victory, I think, is going to go ahead and push into the side of the map here and maybe make another attack here as he launches a massive offensive. He knows his Zergling count is down right now. He knows this is his opportunity to strike. He's also stolen the expansion over on the 3 o'clock, and let's see where Pain User goes. He is going to access the ledge behind the natural. And this is going to be very, very interesting. Now, this is also very risky because all the units have to clump up on a double ramp. 1 elevation, 2 elevation. Any Infestor there would have just ruined Pain User's day. Pain User luckily gets by without really any obstacles at all. And he's going to fly and walk all of his units into the back of the Nat. Nothing that Kenzie has back here can really deal with this. He's trying to get all of his Infestors up. He's got several large Brute Lords in the air as well, but he's lost a hatchery already. Will Kenzie be able to clean this up and mitigate his losses here or not. We'll have to wait and see. The Infestor's coming forward, trying to launch down some Infested Terrans to soak up the damage in the front as the Brood Lords come from behind. Kenzie is losing a ton of his Infestors here, but his main goal is to whittle down all the Marines. If he can take out all the Marines, and the Brood Lords can go to work, but it looks like Pain User does not want to continue this offensive. He is going to pull back. He just simply does not have the anti-air like Vikings or Ghosts necessary to deal with this many Brood Lords. And you know, honestly, I think Pain User came out on top there. He didn't lose that much, and he essentially took out a major hatchery of Kenzie out of play. He almost actually took out this one as well. Let's look at the workers kill tab. 30 workers killed this game for Pain User. Very, very solid. And Kenzie, you know, he's not a chump, guys. He's a top 10 Masters player, so a very talented Zerg at that. And we'll just have to see how this game goes. Now, Pain User is going to go ahead and go into Starport Viking production, producing 2 at a time. That's very, very smart. He knows that he's going to have to deal with those Brood Lords. Also, walling off this area with a bunker. That's very clever. Even should these rocks go down, he's not going to really face any threat at all. I really like that idea. Maybe we're going to have to... uh-oh, Command Center is going to go down probably. But maybe we're going to have to make this area unbuildable except for the Command Center, because I don't know if I like the idea of Terran players able to wall that off and Protoss players able to wall that off against Zerg so easily. But it looks like the Command Center is going to go down here. And meanwhile, Pain User once again going to strike through the bottom left. So we may have some sort of a base race here on our hands. Kenzie is not pulling back, although he could come behind and flank this Terran army. I don't think he's going to try to do that. And he's going to let Pain User go ahead and walk right behind the ledge of his natural. Meanwhile, he's posturing most of his forces in the middle of the map, and it looks like he's going to go ahead and try to strike this expansion of Pain User. So it is going to be a base race right now. Something that Desert Oasis was very well known for was base race, because you could have one army on the left side of the map and one army on the right side of the map, and both armies entirely missing each other. And that is what we have on our hands right now. Kenzel is up inside the Terran expansion. Pain User is sieging up everything. He has killed off the Greater Spire. He is inside the main. Pain User's pulling his Vikings back to go defend. And this is going to be a straight up Dukem fest. We'll just have to see who wins this long, long battle. Kenzel has killed off the Command Center. He's killed off a secondary Command Center, as well as Infested Terrans and Zerglings and Broodlings all swarming the ground, just going to work. But he's lost his Greater Spire. He's lost his Baneling's Nest. The spawning pool is about to join the fate of its brothers, and now the Zerg player has no capability to really produce any units except for Infestors, and that capability is about to go down the drain as well as the Infestation Pit is under attack. Meanwhile, Vikings going to work. This is huge. In a base race situation, your production is limited, so you've got to make do with the units you've got at hand, and Pain User has to be cost effective. Kenzie has to be cost effective here. Fungal growth on those clumped up Marines is not cost effective. Vikings going to work here, but they've got to be careful that the Infestors could get a fungal off. They are not in range, rather they're launching Infested Terrans from behind the ledge. Brilliant play here from Kenzie, who's now got Infested Terrans inside the main of Pain User. Pain User has cleared out what remains of the main of the Zerg, and it's really just clockwork now from both players. Both players are just in an all-out kill mode here. Whoever kills off the most buildings is going to win, or whoever kills off the remaining buildings of the opponent is going to be declared the victor here. Pain User still has 3,000 minerals saved up. Kenzie still has 2,500, 1,600 saved up as well. So you guys can see on this map, both players have accumulated so many resources just to the sheer number of easily accessible expansions that they can rebuild and get back in this game very quickly. But the problem here lies that they just don't have the production to do so. Both players are just moving around the map, trying to strike each other down. Kenzie has reestablished at least one of the hatcheries over to the left side where the Terran once laid. And I really think that Kenzie here has that advantage. He just has so many Brood Lords. That's a problem. And Pain User only has 5 Vikings and 43 Marines. Now that's a lot of Marines, but that's where the Infestors are going to come in. And I think it's important here for Kenzie to conserve energy. He doesn't need to waste any of his energies on Infested Terrans. He just needs to attack with the Brood Lords and clear out the Terran main. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. Save up energy on those Infestors. He's going to need as many fungal growths as he can possibly get in the next battle. Pain User, meanwhile, has dropped everything off inside the main to try to recover what remains and salvage the rest of his buildings. I don't know if this is the smartest decision, though. Pain User immediately spreads out the Marines. That is actually a good decision, because if he's going to drop here, you better spread him out. Otherwise, a Fungal Growth could ruin his day. And Pain User here trying to make his last stand at what seems to be the Alamo. He's going to try to hold his orbital command here. Meanwhile, he's walked his siege tanks because they did not have the capability to hop inside a medevac. There was just not enough lifeboats in the air. Only the women and children could survive, and the tanks are now attacking the hatchery, and it looks like that hatchery will go down. So Kenzie now has nowhere to expand back to. While he has a bunch of drones, he's expanding inside of Pain User's main. Wow, this is a really interesting result of this game. Kenzie is now expanding inside of Pain User's base, and now he is gonna get a fungal. No, he will not. And that's all Kenzie really needs to solidify this victory, is a good fungal growth on those Marines, and he will get it right here. There is the fungal, although he loses 4 infestors for that. I'm not quite sure if it's worth it unless he gets the kill. There we go. Oh god, he just killed off almost all the Marines of Pain User, who once had 43 Marines. His numbers have dwindled down to sub 20. He's only got 16, and Kenzie is going to go ahead and expand into Pain User's base. Now here is the problem with doing that. Well, Kenzie is expanding into the Pain User's base. The problem is he only has so many resources, and he can't mine here. There's only a geyser left here. The other geyser has lost all of its Vespine, so I'm not sure if this is the smartest idea. And Pain User has backtracked with the tanks that did not have lifeboats to survive in. He's backtracked into the ledge behind his natural. And let's see if he can hold the position here. Kenzie is going to go ahead and attack up this position, but he loses 2 or 3 of his infestors. That was not good. He's got to keep his infestors alive, and now he's only got 3 left. At one point, Kenzie had about 10 or so infestors. He just lost about half of them trying to run up this ramp. That was a very bad play from Kenzie, and I think you can't really fault him. He just had no idea how many siege tanks were back here for Pain User, and Pain User catches a huge lucky break, takes out about 5 infestors or so, drops the comsat, checks how many troops are remaining. And this game is just, I don't know who's going to win at this point. Both players struggling to survive. And if only Kenzie, God, if only he rebuilt his Greater Spire. He has 1,300, 1,900 saved up. He could morph about 10 Broodlords right now if he had a Greater Spire saved up, but unfortunately he didn't think about the consequences of the late game in a base race situation, and now he's struggling, trying to rebuild the spawning pool, to rebuild all the tech facilities he really needs. But it's just going to take so long for him to get back up to snuff. While Pain User has been rebuilding, he has starports, he has barracks, he can amass a huge anti-air and ground army, and I think Pain User is looking really, really good right here, guys. He's even gone Overlord hunting down to the bottom right now. The Marines being recalled back home. What a spectacular game by both these guys, and these drones, I don't know where they're going, trying to get us around, I guess. That isn't going to work at all, and Pain User is going to shove his way up into the new Zerg main. This is an incredible StarCraft 2 game on an awesome StarCraft 2 map. BW Oasis for the win, and Kenzie now under attack from the Vikings and the Marines, and I don't know how he's going to hold this off. He just has all these resources, but he can't utilize it. He's going to go ahead and build a spine crawler, a couple of spine crawlers, but it really isn't going to matter. I actually ended up leaving the game at this point because my internet crashed. But I did get the replay sent by Pain User, so the rest of this, I have no idea what happens, but I'm pretty sure Kenzie is going to lose at this point, as he's down to 37 supply and Pain User is at 78. I think situation is pretty much a foregone conclusion, and there's only 1 hatchery and 1 spine crawler left. So I hope you guys enjoyed this broadcast. I want to try to bring you guys more interesting maps like this one. If you guys want to play this map on Battle.net, it is called BW Space Oasis, a remake of Desert Oasis. This looks like to be the final battle for Kenzie here, who's gone in with his corruptors, but he has no more air to ground, and he is going to go ahead and call the GG. I hope you guys enjoyed this broadcast. Once again, I'm a big proponent of bringing interesting new dynamics to StarCraft 2 in the way of cool maps, and I think this is one of those maps that is very cool. You guys saw how the Terran abused the ledge against the Zerg here, but the Zerg was still able to thrive and made an extremely close game out of it. I would love to see some more balance testing results. Hopefully you guys test it out. And I think that's pretty much it for me, guys. Hopefully you guys all tune into the Super Bowl tomorrow. My team actually lost, so I'm not too happy about that. My team is the 49ers, of course. But hopefully you guys all enjoy Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow. And stay tuned, guys. I'll have more videos coming out regarding StarCraft 2. This is HD, signing out.